Hi, this is Andre for Downtown Music Guitars here. Here just to talk about the these new VHT all-tube amplifiers. These are a new range of amps by VHT, which I'm sure everyone out there has heard of before. They are all valve. They have valve preamps and valve power amps, and they are single channel. This one's a single channel job. This is a 20 watt amp, and it has a whole bunch of features, and I'll run through the channel strip with you. First thing you've got, you'll see is the input, and there's two types of input impedances here. So there's like a high and a low, and really that's just level that if you're going to run the amp a little bit cleaner, you can probably go into the low input. If you want to run a little bit hotter, you've got the high input. Also, depending upon the output of the pickups you're using, whether you're using humbuckers or whether bumbuckers or single coils or whatever they are, you can match it to that input. The next little knob you've got there is gain, and that is once again like on some of the other amps I showed there. Gain is really just about the amount of how hard you're driving that front end. So it's like sort of how much distortion you want. You put it right way up on 10, you're going to get like a whole heap of a real heavy distorted sound. You're going to get a whole heap of distortion. If I run this further back clean here and put the master volume up, I get a cleaner sound. So you get a little bit cleaner tone. If I go into the low input, it'll clean up yet again. But the next three controls here, all straightforward stuff: bass, mids, and treble. So it's basically just the EQ, the overall shape of the sound of the amp. Whether you've got a guitar that might be a little bit brighter in sound, you might want to roll the tops off, or whether you have a guitar, the humbucker that might be a bit boomy or whatever, you might take a little bit of bass out depending upon where you're playing and where the amp is. But it just gives you a little degree of flexibility of getting the sound right through the amp. Next thing is the standard reverb on pretty much all heads and combos these days. Everyone likes a little bit of grease, and they provide a little spring reverb in there. So the higher you turn that up, the more your sound totally disappears. So if I've got no reverb, I've got right. If I've got a little bit of reverb, a little bit like an ambient sort of, like you're playing in a cave or a hall or something, where it's sort of the sound reverberates a little bit, a bit of echo, And you go to full-on ridiculous. Yeah, that chord. You'd never use the reverb that high unless you're in like a surf band or something. Next, master control, straightforward. And you've got a little light here to tell you that the amp's on. Standby switch, so if you want to change guitars or you go for a break in between sets or something like that, you put the amp on standby rather than heating it up and cooling it down or whatever. And a power switch. And that is the 20 watt VHT combo amp. What I'll do is I'll flip the back side around because there's a couple of little features that this amp has at the back that are pretty cool. I'll just show you now. Now the back of this amp here, there's a couple of little cool little features I'll just show you quickly. Power supply thing, obvious, right? Foot switch thing, obvious or whatever. But you've got here an effects send and return. So you can patch like a delay or a chorus, something like that through, or even a boost or something like that through the send and return or the effects loop. And what you've got here a little control that you can control between how dry and how wet you want the effect to be. So for example, if I put a delay unit through here and I had it on dry, it'd be like almost a hardwired bypass, like as if the effect wasn't there at all. But as I turn that up a little bit, it starts to mix in some of the signal coming through the channel or through the amp, mix it into the delay and put it into the return. If I go the full hog on the other side, then it is giving me pretty much all the return from the effect. So it's sending the channel out to the effect and then all of the effect back into the amp. So it's just a little control that allows you to mix between dry and wet signal. Now some delay units, the fancier ones, allow you to do that on the delay unit. The not so fancy ones don't. So this is just gives you a little bit of a feature there. This is also an external, this will allow you to hook this cabinet and box head up to another box. So if I wanted to run this with a little 112 speaker or whatever underneath, a late ohm 112 speaker, I could do that. So I could run this speaker and another speaker as well. And as you can see in the back there, there's a little foot switch sort of all taped up on the side there that comes with the amp that allows you to switch the reverb. That's it.